Hey everybody, this is game one of the LJL finals. DFM versus V3. The game just went and started. I was waiting for the pick band to get going here because there was a bit of a delay, it seems. But now we are rolling right on in. Elise and Heimerdinger getting picked off the boards right here. DFM does not want to have a baby getting that Elise for himself. Heimerdinger getting taken off the table as well because everybody knows Saros is Heimerdinger is far too phenomenal and needs to pretty much ban that against him nearly every single time. He's got a lofty ban rate against on that champion. As we let bans sort of come on down into this match, we're going to be interested to see how these teams have developed coming into this finals here. DFM, they've had quite a while since they've played now. V3 about 2 weeks ago went ahead and beat Crust Gaming Act. Went to a 5-game series. I think they probably could have ended it a little bit earlier if there hadn't been some shenanigans in pick ban and some goofy things going on. But V3 really showing some proactive play and maybe even so much as to offer a challenge to DFM, as they've been the sort of monstrous force in the LJL for quite some time. Winning the last two splits, only to lose to Rampage here. But DFM, Detonation Gaming, Detonation Focus Me, always in the discussion when it comes to being a top two teams, and pretty much synonymous with any representative getting sent to the LJL. And first pick Pantheon right out of the gate. DFM going hard on the paint with their pick ban. We have seen that flexed here between the mid and top side. So DFM confident with the power of the new Pantheon in 916. V3 going to get themselves Zaya as an answer and locking in a big old jungler for Baby here with the Gragas. Champion that he's played a handful of times now. Pretty comfortable with that. I guess they wanted to get the jungler pool set up before he got banned out a little bit harder. V3 being on red side, they probably want to give that counter pick over to Paz or Ace in the mid lane. But DFM have quite the composition on their side here. They've got Silas Pantheon, and those champions could get flexed around quite a bit. And clearly picking up a support for themselves in Saros for the Thresh, getting himself some, offering some safety to Udapon in the bottom lane. Udapon very comfortable into this matchup against Yutori Moyashi. They've been a pretty monstrous bottom lane duo, not losing to many in the regular season. So Paz going to lock in the get Aatrox for himself. I suppose that could be shifted over to mid, but we haven't seen Ace pull out a Aatrox before, but it is potentially on the table. Maybe some flexibility here. I mean, by picking up the Aatrox so early, we could see that Pantheon move towards even the mid, the Silas jungle, and then DFM could get Gnar for themselves in the top side. I'm almost tempted to say that V3 should even ban away the Gnar just so that that flexibility doesn't come through, because that is a bit of a concern. I still think has some mild potential there, because we do know that, actually I'm looking through here, I mean, Steel has some games onto the Silas, so I think the logical sort of play here would be to maybe put the Pantheon mid and then send Gnar up to the top side to bully out Paz on that Aatrox. Lovers bottom lane split up here. A lot of bans going towards the bottom lane now. And MF taken off the table against Udapon as well. I mean, Udapon does always still have the Ezreal. Probably don't want to tie that in with the, we've seen these matchups right here, tied in with the Thresh too often. But as you can see, even on those champions right there, Udapon has a few options. Only a couple of, like, 1 games across that right now, the Jinx. So V3 must know something. Maybe they're just throwing away some bans here. Maybe they've seen something in scrims here and there. Locking in the Braum for themselves, get that safety. Vivid is no stranger to that, as that is one of his most played champions in the regular split so far. Played it quite often. But going to get that. Almost surprised that they did not pick up the Morgana, just because that would be a decent matchup against the Thresh. I guess they just want to see how this plays out. And the Lucian coming on out, maybe. Ooh, or the Kai'Sa, just flexing around. I thought he had locked in the Lucian there already. Okay, and it is going to be the Kai'Sa. get some late game skilling in there. Nothing too surprising with that pickup for themselves. And insta lock in with the Nico. It's going to be actually pretty difficult to determine where these teams are, or where these champions are going. And I think that's what DFM wants. They want to keep V3 a little off kilter here. Keep them guessing, because, I mean, it's likely that Nico is going to be going towards the mid lane. LeBlanc getting locked in for ace here, so going for that matchup right away, getting that aggressive champion. He has one play on that champion so far. He did do quite well on the LeBlanc when he did play it earlier this split, so ace likely confident, maybe getting some advantages over Saros. I think Nico will have the advantage, at least in the push there a little bit. I mean, that team fight on DFMs, you just see kind of the chaos that can work from there. But at the end of the day, while I was sort of felt threatened by DFM's ability to flex around, the composition that V3 came out ahead with, or ended up with, isn't too shabby. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward front to back composition. Keep the Xayah safe. Have Braum sort of shift things around. Gragas to throw a barrel out, break up the team. And Paz on Aatrox, and Paz and Baby were just doing so much work in their game, in their series against Crest Gaming Act. Expecting a lot out of this duo, and maybe some attention towards the top side. Think Pantheon probably will have a pretty decent time go ahead and attacking that lane. Nico, I mean, she can always sort of clone herself and distract it with where she's running off to, cause a little bit of confusion there. But overall, a little bit happier with V3's composition here. I'm just not sure what to expect from the Pantheon. It seems like LJL players have been prioritizing Pantheon just a bit here across this series. We only saw him, well, we saw him a handful of times get banned out in the first game against Crest Gaming Act in V3. That got played by Crest Gaming Act and then banned out, I think, it looks like, yeah, not think, I'm looking at it right now, 3 games of that series after that. So there is some threat around the Pantheon. I just have not seen it come alive. I'm sort of expecting that Pantheon to come crashing down on the bottom side to try and give them an advantage, especially with the Thresh, who will be wanting to look for a pick, get a hook onto the Braum, and sort of try and overcommit and maybe get a kill here. I want to see how that Grand Starfall is used in order to get pressure on the map. Maybe they're going to be trying to keep it onto Baby, but either way, before we keep talking about the team composition, drabble on about that, you see that DFM has a little bit of a popularity vote here as far as who they think is going to, the fans think who's going to win. And they have it's completely fair, that 90 to 10% in favor of DFM. DFM, again, winning the last 2 finals previously. Before that, as we mentioned, they're usually at the top 2 in that discussion. They've always been in that top 2 ever since the LJL came around in 2014. Besides, I think the first split, they have always been like either made a grand finals, which was like over 3 splits when there was just like 4 teams or something like that. Then going into a bit more of a traditional format, they've always been top 2, either finishing first in the regular season or just making it up short. But usually the teams that they'd make it up short to was usually Rampage, and then more recently, I believe it was a Pentagon, who was disbanded. Now, the funny thing about Rampage is that actually in this game we have quite a few members of the team. Ooh, Evie going hard onto Paz, jumping on in. Nice trades between the champions, so gonna just divvy out that. But Paz playing safe, respecting the damage that Pantheon has, because he's still considered a little bit of an early game threat with his damage. Ooh, sorry about bopping the mic there if you ended up hearing that. But I mean, Evie was formerly of Rampage, formerly of formerly of Pentagon. There's Gang, Paz, Itor Miyashi was on Rampage. So a lot of these, there's a lot of veterans players in here. A lot of people have played with each other. A lot of history. And so everybody kind of knows how everybody works, essentially. Kind of sifting through everything. I mean, most recently, Vivid getting removed from DFM's bottom lane. Not sure exactly the whole history of why he was shifted away from the support and then getting picked up by V3, but V3 more than happy to have him, as I mean they've made quite the run. I mean V3 was a name that not many knew, and now they're in the discussion, trying to make their bid for Worlds here. But we see both junglers just clearing out camps here. We see Silas towards the top side of the map, getting pretty aggressive. There's a pretty substantial wave here. Flash is still available, but Paz is pretty low here now. I'm expecting the dive. Steel going to try and lock him up. Paz hitting level 4, so a little bit delayed, but here they go. Going on to Paz, they're getting him very low. Flashes away. Heavy taking a lot of turret damage, able to dodge it out. Steel getting pretty low there, but going to be able to flash out and secure first blood for the side of Detonation Focus Me. Pretty straightforward, easy kill. A little bit slow on the draw there, it felt like, and maybe close to disaster, but Heavy able to go ahead and get the better end of that deal. Silas actually, oh, no, he was just basing right there. Maybe going to get spotted out by this ward. I thought Steel was sticking around before I saw him basing right there, but that was felt a little scary. E3's bottom lane, given DFM's bottom lane the business here. Actually having the CS lead rather substantially. 10 CS getting forced under turret here. Getting beat up. No summoner spells used just yet. E3 need to be aware of that Thresh hook though. Coming out, pulling him under turret. A little scary, but nice for V3 to see them getting a little bit of pressure on the bottom side. They knew that they were free to be a little bit aggressive down there with Steel on the top side. Getting that kill with Heavy. Now with that, Heavy and Steel go ahead and doing that dive topside. I sort of expected that more from the side of Baby and Paz, as they were just crushing it so significantly. Now we did see, I mean, Paz is very comfortable on Aatrox, but we saw him doing so much work onto like Camille previously. I'm not sure how that Pantheon-Camille matchup goes. But I kind of want to see him drift a little bit away from that Aatrox sort of matchup. A little bit more wit to wit. Maybe pick up a Renekton. I'm just still unfamiliar with the Pantheon matchups as of right now. But Paz getting really beat up. You see that he's already, I mean, of course, lost his life once already. He's down about half a CS. Executioner's Calling built on Evi to reduce that healing. So Paz in a very rough spot for the early parts of this game. And that's going to let the Pantheon sort of roam around a little bit. Give him the opportunity to do that. Grand Starfall. And Steel in the area. They just want to go ahead and crush Paz so badly. Baby in a nice spot here. I don't think there's no way for them to know there was no wards there. But Baby's going to see Steel now. Going to go ahead and thwack Steel here. Steel out on his own. We see some pings onto the backside. LeBlanc making her way back up. Grand Starfall dropped, but not able to follow up just yet. We see Ace working his way up to the river and might be able to get a catch here. Chain comes out, jumps forward. Ace trying to get onto Evi. Going to lock him up here in a moment. We have a teleport coming from the Nico. V3 trying to get out now. Paz going to drop World Ender, but that's going to be the end of that skirmish there. But I think at the end of the day, V3 actually come out ahead. They were able to get the teleport out from Saros. So if Ace is a little bit aggressive on the mid lane, gets Saros locked down, get some damage out, maybe he's going to be able to get an opportunity to roam, maybe help out Evi here in a little bit with that long cooldown on the teleport here. Now I do have to think, ooh, Baby, pretty low there. Okay, he's just getting Scuttlecrab for himself. They do see those pings, but bottom lane's pushed up enough. Nico's shoved away in a turret, doesn't want to go deep into the river because knows that LeBlanc would not be far behind, does not want that LeBlanc to get ahead. Now this Nico pick is actually interesting. It's probably very easy for him to lock down the LeBlanc whenever LeBlanc distorts forward. You know where he's going to be, so you just go ahead and throw out that route and take care of that nonsense. See, jungler's getting a little busy here, shifting around. Steel trying to shift on down to the bottom side here, But Baby might be able to secure a red buff. Very sneaky by him. Baby and Steel going to see each other. Oh, no. We have LeBlanc coming on down. Steel like, uh-oh. Okay, thank goodness I dropped that ward. But now he's going to be all the wiser. Ace, though, seeing DFM able to get the death sentence onto Braum, but that's not a big deal. Try and take the Lantern away, but they go ahead and deny that. Murashi able to get the kill onto the Kaisa. I mean, pretty quickly. I thought DFM was going to be able to answer to that, but with the teleport down on both the top and mid, they were not able to send another member down there fast enough. V3 a little bit faster on the play, shifting their players around. I didn't think they had the opportunity really there, and I don't think DFM did as well, just because they were caught out, but didn't seem like Saros necessarily respected the threat of that. Wasn't sure where the minion wave was at the time. But picking up a kill for Xayah, let's go ahead and see. So they know that he's here, and Steel's still a little bit too far away. The minion wave's hitting the turret. Glacial Fissure, and that body slam to stop the Lantern pull. Nice by Baby. I don't know if he... That was just beautiful timing there to stop that. Stop the Kaisa in his tracks. And we now see that 20 CS lead in the bottom lane. So while things are going rough on the top side, I mean, bottom's trying to make up for it the best way they can. And, oh, man, I said that a little bit with a grimace just because I feel for the Aatrox right now. V3 doing a good job with their wards to keep Aatrox safe. That ward has been so pivotal in keeping Paz safe. I mean, Steel is going to know that he was caught out. And with that ping towards topside, Gragas going to be able to start this dragon. We see Evie shifting towards the bottom side. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Nico. Gosh darn it. Copying the Pantheon. They're still committing to this. Death sentence onto the Braum. He's out a little bit on his own. Forced to flash. Going to jump on over to Yurtmayash. Tori Moyash. Man, I keep butchering that name. I'm going to butcher that name till the day I die. Jeez Louise. It's just a mouthful for me, and I butcher. I feel so bad, but goodness gracious. Probably just need to say the Xayah over instead of his name for now until I can say that in a mirror by myself legitimately. Ooh, Ace. Very, very cute to shift over to the buff. Maybe being a good old jungler. Taking damage, getting beat up by the blue buff. Dealing with all that nonsense. And able to take it. But a little bit of a gold advantage on the side of DFM. I think majority of that's from the top side of the map. But other than that, the game's been pretty solid so far. Not a lot of kill pressure coming out from anybody. But I think V3 are in a better state right now. Again, I think they'll have a better front to back. Ooh! Nice distort forward, getting Saros down pretty low. Saros going to get blue buff for himself. Go ahead and try and keep that LeBlanc pushed into lane so it doesn't get the opportunity to roam at all. Oh, Evie is around. Paz taking a little bit of damage. She's going to get that nice knock-up. I think it's just going to be a trade of damage back and forth here. But we see that continued pressure that Pantheon has onto the Aatrox here. And Paz probably looking forward to get out of this laning phase, maybe for the turret plates to get knocked down here so that they can go ahead and take care of something else. Because of all this warding topside, there hasn't been really an emphasis to get this Rift Herald from either team. I mean, Steel is so infatuated with getting Paz stuff done on Paz. Ooh, gonna get the lockup just barely. But now we're seeing LeBlanc start to get maybe the better end of these trades in the mid lane, which will open up the map a little bit, maybe an opportunity for that Rift Herald. Yutapon out on his own, getting very, very low. A few more plates going over to V3 here. So we do see a ping onto the Rift Herald. But we continue to just see an emphasis towards this top side. Baby trying to call Steel on the threat of another gank. With the pressure top, Baby really committing to this bid here. But DFM finally starting up the Rift Herald because they have that push mid. LeBlanc left. But now we have 4 members of V3 moving on in. I don't think DFM has the time to go ahead and take this Rift Herald. They are right around the corner. Saros also aiding with the Rift Herald take as well. No ultimates used just yet, but now here comes V3. Is the Rift Herald going to get reset? It does go ahead and get reset. And V3 denied DFM from go ahead and moving forward with what they want to do on that Rift Herald. I think if DFM had tried a little bit earlier, they would have had a better prospects of getting that Rift Herald for themselves, especially when the deficit up topside was a bit more significant. Still, as I was trying to say earlier, just maybe a little too infatuated with getting Paz behind and not able to commit to making things happen other than just putting Paz behind. Could have instead committed to getting Rift Herald for themselves. But with that continued pressure, we just see this bottom lane still not giving really any help to this bottom lane just yet. It's just the advantage has been for the Xayah and Braum in this lane. When I thought it'd be a little bit more well evened out here, but that early Thresh pick. Oh, Saros getting knocked, body slammed apart. And that seemed like a crisp, easy kill from the side of V3. Greg is going to just saunter on into lane, throw out some CC, and Ace is going to pick up the kill for himself. And that's going to set LeBlanc into the right road for success. You see all that ward coverage on the bottom side of the map. I just want to see how that was set up. So Gragas just getting Scuttle Crab for himself. Doesn't get picked up by the ward. Saros, I guess, thinks he's just completely safe because he's standing on a control ward, I guess. But V3 going on, just da-da-da-da-da. Gets caught up by the chains. Nice flash body slam. Just gets CC chained so easily. The chains locking down Saros. Even if he saw Baby, he wouldn't have had much of a chance, but a nice play from the side of V3. And we see LeBlanc taking control of Saros here in the mid lane. DFM starting the Rift Herald back up once more. And we see as these lanes reset, 4 members again closing in on the Rift Herald to deny DFM that Rift Herald take. So maybe this is something that they saw in DFM's play over and over again. Still wants to go ahead and get this. Still getting pretty low here. At this point, I want to see V3 try and get it. I mean, yeah, I think is what I'm guessing the commentators are speaking about as they zoomed in on that CS, the top side, those creeps slowly dying, mentioning that Aatrox is behind. For him to commit to trying to deny this Rift Herald, it must be V3 must have put massive emphasis on denying the Rift Herald from DFM. They do not want DFM to get a turret for themselves. I mean, V3 able to get the first brick of the game. Now V3, as they go for the Ocean Drake, DFM now committing hard towards the Rift Herald for themselves. They even called Gange up to the area to make sure that they're solid on the 4v4 if that did happen. But no, V3 actually moving their way back in. Rift Herald getting very low. Lantern gets thrown in, and now DFM getting very low. Ace going on in. Hourglass used by Steel and going to try and make his way out of there. We see the Gragas on the other side. Evie getting very low. DFM trying to do what they can to get out of there. Baby almost taken down from Saros. We see the Eternal Chains getting knocked out. Lantern going to try and get Saros out of there. Goes ahead and does so. Not a single kill picked up by V3. And the Rift Herald, I think, picked up by DFM in the end as well. Was it picked up? No, actually, it's complete disaster for DFM. V3 were the ones they were able to go ahead and pick that up for themselves. So DFM overcommitting to trying to get the Rift Herald, and this is going to get dropped immediately for another turret over to the side of DFM. Kai's able to get at least a consolation prize turret on the bottom side of the map. But V3 probably feeling really good. And you got to ask DFM why they were committing so significantly hard to trying to get that Rift Herald and just not saying, okay, you can go ahead and you can have it. I mean, V3 really committing to trying to get that out. So we see the Lantern a little bit misplaced, not really doing much for anybody. We see Ace saying, all right, I can just go ahead and distort in and drop a lot of damage. Already have a kill for myself. Feeling pretty confident about that. I think that stopwatch was necessary for Baby to go ahead and do as he gets beat up a little bit more. Vivid getting the chains, making sure the Glacial Fissure comes on through, but that Lantern's going to go ahead and save Saros in the end. So V3 almost getting themselves a couple of kills there, but more importantly, denying DFM from getting what they wanted in regards to that Rift Herald. With all that nonsense happening on that top side of the map, I mean, Kai'Sa was not a part of that. Unofficial was not a part of all those engages and such. Was able to catch back up in the CS game and get that turret. I mean, plates were down at the time, so not able to make anything up at that point. But I'd say that this game, a little bit over a 1K gold lead, is in the hands of V3. Again, I think they have the most straightforward team composition. There isn't really anybody that can deal with the front line of V3, I think. Got a lot more straightforward CC on the side of V3. I mean, DFM, I think they have a lot of pick potential on their side. I mean, in theory, they've got a decent team fight with the Nico ultimate, depending on what they steal with the Silas, but it feels a lot more circumstantial than V3's, which they can play just that simple front to back. And we see them gradually trying to just get more vision control, force their way into the jungle, and try and get maybe that farther outer turret on the bottom side of the map. Give Ace that protection that he needs as he roams through the jungle trying to find himself a pick. Got a Mountain Drake up here in another minute 40. It looks like DFM interested in getting vision on the bottom side of the map. Or I mean, around the Baron side. Unofficial dishing out a lot of damage, waiting for that distortion to come on out. Ace getting relatively low, but here comes Baby. Unofficial staying safe, just safe enough. Baby taking a lot of damage. That AP Gragas build, not as tanky as he used to be, but Unofficial, as you can see, can deal a lot of damage, waiting for that tier to stack up. And then Kai'Sa will be probably a little bit more relevant in these team fights, much more interested in jumping onto the targets of V3. I mean, if Unofficial can safely get back there and pop some targets, these fights can go a little bit crazy. But the Gragas barrel, or Gragas ultimate, I should say, I think is going to do a lot of work for the side of V3 to make sure that they can stay safe in fights, sort of shift things around in a fight, and prevent anybody from falling down immediately. If the Kai'Sa does jump back, you just throw a barrel out. Just get her out of the discussion for a little bit there. Explosive cast. Don't make it a problem. So V3, they've got a 1-3-1 setup for themselves. You see that vision getting set up around the Dragon Pit right now. There's not a lot of people that want to go ahead and deal with Ace on that LeBlanc. Not until they've got a bit more protection for themselves. You can look down the line of items, and there isn't really much that can deal with that LeBlanc. As continues to exert pressure on that bottom side of the map. Baby out on his own a little bit. It was a little scary there. Troll ward's going to get clear, and I think we'll be getting our first real 5v5 here. DFM's still a little concerned because they know that V3 have a little bit more control in this. Grand Starfall called out, and that didn't look like it hit anybody. Evie now split off from the rest of the team. He's going to try and pinch, but now Baby's going to go ahead forward. Steel getting very, very low. Nico going to drop the ultimate death sentence, dropped onto Vivid. Ace going to chase down Unofficial, get him very low. Not able to secure the kill just yet. Able to clean that up just now. Kai'Sa now out of the fight. Evie's out trying to do a 1v2, but going to get taken out, or a 1v3, I should say, out way too far forward. Ace almost getting taken down, but able to work his way out of the fight. And V3, I guess they're calling for a Baron for themselves. It is only Nico and Thresh up right now, and AD carry plenty healthy right now, so I guess they feel like they're confident enough. And this is the kind of decisive play I wanted to see out of V3. They felt a little timid earlier in the series against Crest Gaming Act, and it felt like it took them a little bit to ramp up before they're ready to commit to like these faster Barons. But a 22-minute Baron almost feels like a death sentence. A Thresh hook onto the enemy team to certain death. You just look at the side of DFM really quickly. Let's look at this replay here. So it's one of those, on paper, it feels like it could be a good idea from DFM's side. It's like they've got a lot of ways to get back, but I don't think didn't look like that Pantheon ultimate hit anybody. DFM so concerned about Ace and LeBlanc going anywhere. You see that Gragas explosive cast getting dropped out. No frontline tank to protect Ace, or to protect Unofficial, and trying to get back there to help him out, but not able to do anything. And just kind of chaotic. And in these sort of chaotic situations where people are getting locked out, DFM don't have anything to really work with. They need everything to sort of kind of come together beautifully instantly, and V3 can take out these longer sustained fights with their CC and better aligned team fights here. Securing a Mountain Drake for themselves, that's going to help them with the push as they go ahead and reset here. I'm expecting another 1-3-1 to get set up from these teams. Maybe LeBlanc will be just lurking in the shadows trying to pop a target down. But we have teleport available for Paz. I expect him to also break off. We see a ping towards that. You can see LeBlanc sort of shifting on to the backside. We see some pings on an Ace lurking in the shadows, waiting to try and get a pick. Because the side of V3, they're probably plenty strong right now to go ahead and make a dive for themselves. Ooh. A little spooky there. But V3 playing this out nice and smart, just taking it nice and slow, letting the minions do the work. As I say, taking it nice and slow, Ace trying to find a pick, but as you should on a LeBlanc. Try and keep the pressure on the game. So now they punched their way through that first turret in the mid lane. V3 going to be working, shifting on over towards the top side of the map. Ace, ooh, a little bit of a flub on that distort though. Trying to catch anybody out in that rotation. See that gold lead creeping up more and more as gang hopes to try and get a nice just surprise hook on any target that they can try and pop down easily. I mean, both of these teams just hoping for a pick either way to just V3 to close this game out and DFM to try and climb their way back in. And this is going to be a tough one for DFM to make happen. I mean, we already saw the flub on the Grand Starfall, how it's such a difficult ultimate to land. It's that it looks good on paper. You think it's going to work really well, but it just doesn't come together. Baby going to get pulled in, drops the stopwatch. Nico now dropping the ultimate on in. Grand Starfall, so we might actually get a good fight from the side of DFM. Yutarimashi forced to ultimate. Kaisa jumping in on the backside. The Xayah is now dead. One member down. V3 trying to get the kill, return kill onto Evie. The Pantheon does fall down. Saros is getting very low as well. Udupon actually falling down pretty low as well. LeBlanc with a double kill now. Paz doing a lot of work on the other side of the fight here as Steel gets pretty low himself, dropping the stopwatch. Forced to get out of there because of the Lantern. Vivid now out on his own. 3 members alive on the side of V3, only 2 on DFM. Ooh, very cute by Vivid. And Ace there to set that play up. Ooh, Ace getting very low, waiting for the Distort to get back off cooldown and get that kill onto Steel. And nice plays by V3. I thought it was going to be a disaster after the Xayah fell, but DFM able to go ahead and... or V3 able to go ahead and pull their way back into that fight. Ace just getting so much damage out and staying alive. Now that is a 5-0 LeBlanc there. They're going to be able to get this inhibitor down, but they're going to have to get out of here nice and quick out of that. That is Baron now done. So a nice gold lead for themselves. So let's go ahead and see this. So you see the hook on a Baby. That's Grand Starfall. It's like, all right, we got to go, go, go. They're going to try and save Baby. We got to get onto the backside. Evie able to get perfectly onto your Turimash. And you think that, oh, the Xayah dies. Bam. All right, well, that's it. But Ace now, Udapon's out on his own, out way too far forward. Now Ace is going to go ahead and jump on in. Get a lot of damage on Saros. I mean, got the Nico ultimate out, but other than that, was not very useful. And Paz just able to force back or keep back the rest of DFM from moving forward and trying to help out the remainder of the team. And it's just doing such a good job of jumping back and forth. And now this was just so cute. Just Vivid, I'm sure, was just waiting for an opportunity to jump back to Ace to get out of there. But the hook coming out, I mean, if Thresh comes to you, sure, just go ahead and follow that up. And come distorting back forward on into that. So only 3 kills on DFM. This, I'm sure, I don't think we're going to see a first pick Pantheon next time around. I mean, sure, Paz probably was like, hey, can we get rid of that champion so I can actually play the game? But really, at the end of the day, I don't even think that was it. I think they just need to pay a little bit more respect to the threat of Evie and Steel. And they adapted very quickly. So credit to V3 for acknowledging that the amount of pressure that was going to be put towards Paz on the top side. And just some nice warding that they did for themselves. Make sure that Paz didn't fall back any further. And we still see that CS differential in the top side still exists. But I mean, you look at the bottom side and Xayah sort of makes up for that in a substantial way. Ace, so comfortable right now on this LeBlanc. Gonna have to see how DFM answers going into game 2, because I have got to think that this game is going to get closed out here. by the side of V3 unless something goes some form of catastrophe happens. Another hook onto Baby, gonna use the Zonias for himself again, but now this just sets up the fight for V3 as they go ahead and see what targets they can get. Nico trying to get a target down. I think he only ends up hitting Baby, but now Saros is out way too far forward and he's gonna get taken out immediately. We see the Grand Starfall. I don't know if that's gonna hit anybody. I mean, it seems to tickle the side of V3, but doesn't make anything really happen. V3 are just way too far ahead. Only 3 members left to DFM up right now, and V3 are going to be looking to go ahead and close this out. See that Void Seeker going on, but Ace trying to jump forward and get another kill onto Utapon. I think V3 are going to have an easy time just tearing through these turrets. Silas trying to work his way in, trying to get some damage, but you see how tanky Paz is, how comfortable he is to go ahead and just dive and be the frontline damage. See that stopwatch used. Utapon getting very, very low, trying to make his way back to the fountain, but going to get taken out. Now it's just Gang and Steel out on their own, but Steel going to get locked up. Ace going to go ahead. Oh, actually, Kill going over to the Zaya, and that is going to be game 1 going over to V3 to start this series off, and DFM got to adjust after that one. That was a couple of questionable things. I think their hearts were in the right place. Again, it kept saying it over and over again. Or on paper, I think their team comp makes sense. Probably in scrims, it probably did fantastically well in scrims where you just fighting over and over again. But V3 had just a bit better positioning. They were warding a lot more effectively than the side of DFM, keeping their laners safe, figuring out where, okay, what do we need to go ahead and to make it so that DFM does not get to do what they want to do. Okay, we got to pay attention to the top side of the map. We got to make sure that they can't get that Rift Herald, that if they do go for that Rift Herald, we answer them immediately. We keep the timer on the jungler. We know where Steel is. Oh, man, he got a kill onto Paz. Don't worry, we're going to ward up, keep you safe. Go ahead, make sure that Utermashi on the Zaya gets ahead on the Zaya and just ends up crushing it. And just good work by V3. Interested to see how DFM go ahead and pull this game back into themselves. And whoa, you just see that crowd running to try and get themselves before the next match starts here. So that only hits the Braum, not even Baby. It only hit Vivid, so only the Nico ultimate only hitting the support. See that Grand Starfall and like just barely peppering anyone. Like it really didn't do anything. I mean, if you can get to the backline, if you can get to the 80 carry or a carry, I think it works effectively, and if the rest of your team can follow up. But look at the side of DFM, how they don't have a great way to follow up with that Grand Starfall, that champion that overreaches like Pantheon with the Grand Starfall. It's hard for anybody to sort of catch up. If I could say anything, it's like maybe like a Scion using his ultimate to run down the lane, you know, into a team fight or into the enemy team. He runs into the enemy team, you know, dies 1v4 and he asks, guys, I engaged, where were you? Something like that. That's what it felt like a little bit there. So I don't expect to see that Pantheon right away. Maybe DFM will pull back a little bit on the Rift Herald, readjust on that and say, just pull back, we need to get better vision of that area. Maybe call our support up. Make sure that we have enough fighting forces there. Something similar to what Clutch does right once 10 minutes comes around. Clutch go ahead, pulls their support around, pull Cody's son, make him start traveling towards the Rift Herald to see if they do need to pull him there or not, and then divert your AD carry back to the bottom lane so he continues to farm up. But get some more support for that Rift Herald if you want to go ahead and do it. You had such a lead in that top side. If you have that lead, go ahead, just enforce it right away. Get that Rift Herald earlier on instead of just trying to drill into the nonsensical, oh, let's just keep killing Paz over and over again. Because now you can't. You spend so much time trying to kill him. It didn't end up working. But anyways, going to go ahead and get a drink for myself as well before this next game starts so that I do not lose my voice. But thank you all for listening, and on to game 2, or at least I'll see you there. Bye.